Kipo Season 3 is basically just about people of color trying to stop a prominent lady scientist from inventing a cure for all of their friends. Welcome back to Poorly Explained, the Cartoon Universe series where I do my best to explain your favorite cartoons, but it's just not good enough. Most of these episodes come out about 2 weeks early on our Patreon, so head on over there to get early access to that and more. It's only a $1 tier to sign up, and if you sign up for our $10 tier, you can actually choose which cartoon that I will fail to review for you. Kipo is just your average girl. She's got purple skin, she lives underground, and she knows every constellation despite having never seen the sky. One day, Kipo randomly explodes out of a sewer and onto the surface of the Earth, where she sees modern-day Los Angeles. After walking around for 5 minutes trying to find a plotline, Kipo meets Blue Pikachu, a character on the show that serves no functional purpose and has literally no bearing on the plotline, unless you count the very last 5 minutes of the show where he kills the final boss and saves the entire world, but whatever. So Kipo wants to be friends with Pikablu, but this other girl wants to eat Pikablu, so they get into a fight over it. The girl is named Wolf. Wolf is named Wolf because she dresses like a wolf, and also because she was raised by wolves, and because she killed a wolf, and also because she hates wolves. Wolf is a sociopath, so she doesn't really care what happens to Kipo at first, but Kipo proves herself to be so unbearably annoying that Wolf can't risk the possibility that Kipo might survive while on the surface and spend her entire life annoying her. So she decides to help Kipo find her home so that they never have to deal with each other ever again. It would have been easier just to kill Kipo herself, but I mean, just because this is a post-apocalyptic wasteland doesn't mean the show can get that dark. So they start heading to where Wolf thinks Kipo's underground home is, and along the way they meet Benson. Wolf says that the surface is so dangerous that all she gets to eat are giant bugs, and they aren't allowed to even speak loudly because it might alert a monster. Benson, on the other hand, walks around with headphones on, hunting for soda pop to feed his bug baby. See the bug baby? That's Dave. He may look cute, but don't let that fool you. Dave is absolutely disgusting. Anyways, Benson and Dave steal Kipo and Wolf's stuff, so Wolf makes it so that some mobster frogs kidnap Benson and Dave while she and Kipo get away. But in the end, she decides to forgive these random strangers for robbing her and goes to save them because a whole bunch of bees chased her. No, really, that's what happened. Anyways, they end up rescuing Benson and Dave, and together make it to Kipo's home, which has been entirely destroyed with literally no signs of life. This starts off a series of events that sends them from one side of the city to the other and back again in an attempt to find a new underground town where Kipo's people might have fled to. While traveling this dark and disturbing apocalyptic wasteland, they come across all sorts of dangerous and terrifying mutants, such as kitty cat lumberjacks, stoner snakes, psychic goat grannies, 80s workout raccoons, K-pop narwhals, and other horrifying creatures no sane mind could even imagine. Eventually, the gang makes it to a new underground burrow and decide to live with Kipo forever. But exactly 16 seconds later, the whole place is destroyed again and Kipo's father is kidnapped, ending Season 1 pretty much exactly where it started. Except, oh, now Kipo has a giant tiger arm. It's at this point that the characters realize that being purple is not normal. At first, I just assumed she was purple because she lived underground, and then we see her dad and everyone else looks normal, so it becomes clear that Kipo has some weird sort of mutant superpowers. You see, it turns out that Kipo is the product of human genetic experimentation that her parents did on her before she was even born, to try and create an abomination of a monster that could fight the beasts on the surface world. You know what Kipo's response was to her parents treating her like a lab rat?
You and Mom infused my DNA? That is so cool!
So anyway, Kipo and her posse travel back and forth across the city again, this time with the intent of saving Kipo's dad from an evil monkey that wants to enslave all humans. You see, Scarlamagne has magic body odor that allows him to control apes and humans. It turns out that, like Kipo, Scarlamagne was just an innocent normal being whose Kipo's parents experimented on against his will for their own scientific research. Obviously, they weren't just going to inject their own daughter with some mutant virus without testing it on a monkey first, I mean, come on. Scarlamagne has decided that he wants to be the king of the city, so he threatens to pour melted gold over anyone who refuses to bow down to him. Kipo ends up stopping him, of course, because she's a giant mutant jaguar and he's just a tiny little monkey, and everyone lives happily ever after, for about 3 weeks, before a human comes forth with a magic potion that will turn all the mutants back to regular animals. This should be a good thing, but Kipo decides that mutants are okay now, even though all of them basically want to kill her, and the few who don't just owe her a favor, basically. Despite wanting to stop this lady scientist, Kipo refuses to use violence against her because she believes she can win anyone over with love, even though that was literally not the case in the Season 2 finale, and she had to learn that sometimes you have to fight. This backfires on her when other humans reject her love and start unmutating animals against their will. This makes Kipo decide that she needs to kill the humans, but then her friends stop her, even though it's the only logical option. After this, Kipo swings back to the adorably naive side of her bipolar disorder and decides that the best way to resolve conflict between the mutants and the humans is to invite them to a prom and force them to dance to K-pop. This backfires on her when the humans use this as an opportunity to unmutate all the animals. The humans fail at this because they didn't really think their plan through, and the Lady Doctor injects herself with the virus to become a giant mutant that she vowed to put an end to. Kipo and this lady have a giant epic monster fight, but in the end, Kipo changes her mind yet again at the last minute and decides to spare the scientists. This backfires on her when Amelia immediately uses it as an opportunity to straight up murder Kipo. Thankfully, Peekaboo comes out of nowhere at the last moment, despite seemingly having been an entire ocean away from them, and pushes the Lady Doctor off of a cliff and into a mass of sentient fungus. The characters act like she's not dead and she's just going to be taken care of by this sentient sociopathic fungus and be given proper food and water and such, but it's obvious she's going to die and they all get to live happily ever after. This climactic war teaches Kipo the most valuable lesson of all, that if you just keep avoiding your problems, someone else will take care of them for you. Oh, by the way, did I mention that it's basically canon that Dave murdered everyone in Bence's family and tribe all over an electric fan that they had been warring over for the last 200 years? Well, now you know how they became best friends. Don't forget that this video is just one in a series of videos where I poorly explain cartoons. Episodes from this series are available 2 weeks early over on our Patreon for as little as $1 a month, and we've already got an episode of Poorly Explained for DuckTales going up there today that won't be available on the channel for another 2 weeks. So head on over there, check it out, I'll put a link in a pinned comment down below.